if approved, how will Denosumab affect the osteoporosis already pretty busy market?
Right. It is, there are a number of options, as you mentioned. There is Fosamax, there is Actonel, there is Boniva. There's also Lilly's Forteo, which is not a bisphosphonate, but a very expensive hormonal therapy, but a very effective agent at developing bone. So how does Denosumab work itself in there? Well, we know that the bisphosphonates are first line. They are the current gold standard. And we don't see anything, honestly, changing that in the near future, especially as cost considerations enter into the equation. Now, our docs have said that they feel that the efficacy and the profile, the overall profile of Denosumab is such that it could very readily be first-line therapy, and it probably will be in a number of patients that are ineligible for the they either have just being on a proton pump inhibitor or some other kind of medication doesn't necessarily preclude you from trying a bisphosphonate. But if you have, let's say, renal compromise, that could be in an older population, 20% of the population, Denosumab could go right into that population in the first-line setting. However, there is a vast pool, and we don't really know what that number is, but it could be on the order of several 100,000 to a million or more patients who have given up, failed Fosamax and the other drugs in the class because of perceived lack of efficacy, cessation of therapy because of intolerability or concern about side effects. Either the patient pulled themselves off, the doc did it. So that's a quote-unquote second-line population, but that's virgin territory. That, to me, is a low-hanging fruit for Denosumab. And there's also been quite a bit of documentation that the 50% of osteoporosis patients go off of their bisphosphonate within the first year because, again, of lack of tolerability. So instead of the algorithm now going to from bisphosphonate 1 to bisphosphonate 2, or in the rare instance Forteo, we think it will be try alendronate, the generic Fosamax, and then if intolerable, go to Denosumab. And if 100,000 patients start generic Fosamax in year 1, then 50% of those are going to be readily eligible for Denosumab before the year is out. I think that's also an attractive population.
So you're not concerned about the market penetration?
No, because again, I think the initial therapy will be indicated for treatment failures or intolerant patients. And as I said, I think that's the low-hanging fruit, and it gives Amgen a couple of years to build momentum before it goes first line, if it does.
So it will start second line, but then you think you're pretty confident it will move first line pretty fast.
Yes.
Even with the cost, because then it's not only the physician, also the insurers.
Right.
Have a word to
and
say.
we think that Amgen will be prudent with the costs.
What are we talking? What are we talking about?
We think in the range of $2,000 or plus or minus, maybe as high as $2,500 a year.
Okay.
Remember, this is a twice-a-year injection, so $2,500 a year is not a lot to ask. It's also so that's about, for the branded Fosamax, it's about 80 to 100% more costly, but it's not going to be $10,000 or $8,000 like some of the other expensive biologics, and I think that's going to make it a very compelling risk-benefit calculus for an insurance company.
So then, if approved, how Denosumab will impact, we think, the share price of Amgen?
Well, we've set an $80 price target on Amgen in 12 months. Clearly, it's as you can see on the board, about 20 points below that right now. We still think it's got a long way to go.
Okay.
Amgen, prior to we raised our rating on it when the DMAB data was top-lined because it was successful and the stock was awfully cheap. No matter how you look at Amgen, whether you look at it a PE basis, enterprise value to EBITDA, earnings yield, cash flow yield, very cheap stock. So our view is that you know, Amgen will get back to a multiple that is shared by its profitable peer group, which runs about 24 times '08 numbers and 20 times next year's numbers. And so, you know, a $20 number and a 20 multiple and a $4 number for '09 gets you an $80 price target.